callers, you're watching Shasta's Journey, and I'm your host, Shasta Garcia. This show is all about my path to purpose, and along the way, I will meet so many incredible people with stories that could teach, heal, or inspire one of you out there. Much like the guest who I have today, his name is Guy Shelby. He's a local man here, and he's a disabled veteran, and he has continuously made an impact and a difference in people's lives all over. And it's incredible what he's doing, and he took his trials and tribulations that he went through and made it into something good to serve other people. And I think it's really incredible. So I can't wait for you to hear his story. So let's just discuss, do you feel that you have filled your purpose? Do you feel that you have gotten to it?
Well, that's what I'm working on right now. I don't necessarily know that I've actually fulfilled it yet, but Silver Paw Ranch is where we take in rescue dogs and retrain them as service animals for wounded veterans right here in San Andreas.
And how long did you serve for the military?
I was in the military for a total of 22 and a half years between the Marine Corps and the Army, both active duty and reserves in both branches.
That's incredible. So, thank you so much for serving.
Thank you.
Yeah, and what led you to go into the military?
It's been so long ago, sometimes you forget. But it is a good way for, of course, anybody, whether they be a young boy or a young girl, to be able to leave home and have a little bit of stability and some money and be able to adventure and do different things. I first went out in the Marine Corps and, of course, didn't know that I would meet my wife in the Marine Corps. So,
really?
Yes.
So what's the story about that?
Oh, geez. Well, she was in the Marine Corps also, and she was the cute gal that everybody wanted to go out with, and I figured I'd never be able to go out with her, but started discussing with her, and she was from right here in Valley Springs, and I was from Placerville, and we were stationed down in El Toro in Southern California, and I said, hey, you know, one of these times when you're going home and I'm going home, let's carpool together. So I got to talk with her for 6 hours straight and get to know her.
Oh, wow.
Christmas of 2000. No, not 2000, of 1990. Is that right? Yeah, 2000 of 1990. And just fell in love with her, and she fell in love with me. Don't know why that happened, but anyways, we've been inseparable since 1990.
Isn't it incredible, the people who come across your path and just what impact they make in your life?
Absolutely.
Even the people who are viewing this show right now, they are going to be impacted by your story and about your life's journey. And I'm excited to hear about your faith. So if somebody were to ask you what faith meant to you, how would you describe your faith to everybody?
Well, I am a Christian. I believe in Jesus Christ as my personal Savior. And how is it? What you asked me? How does it impact me?
Yeah. How would you describe that? How would you describe how your faith impacts just the position that you play and your purpose right now?
Well, it impacts everything in my life. I believe that in every decision that I make, that my wife and I pray to God first, and we make our decisions based upon not our own personal wisdom, but on God's wisdom.
And so do you think that faith is the thing that kept you going throughout, your tours and everything in the military? Because you went through a lot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. In the Army is where I actually deployed with, and 12 months at a time. And that's a long time to be away in another foreign country and to be away from your family and stuff. And thank God for things like Skype that help you, because AT&T, the little phone booths, are way too expensive to use. But being able to Skype and see, although it wasn't that great of a picture, it still was good to always hear their voice and to see them and stuff. And you have no idea what's going on back at home with your children, with your wife, or anything, and your biggest concern as a father is being able to protect them and care for them and stuff. But if I'm halfway across the world, how can I do that? And so you of course put a lot of trust into your wife and in taking care of all those things that you really feel as a father and a husband that you should be taking care of. And our wives do. They pick up the slack, and they do an awesome job. They do a really awesome job. But it's a long ways away and a long time to be away from them. Of course, you've heard of stories of guys that have gone and the wives had a baby and the baby's already 1 year old.
Yeah.
So they miss a lot with their children and stuff.
Do you feel that that is a sacrifice, going into the military and serving our country? Do you think that it was a sacrifice for you? And if you had the opportunity to change it, would you? Would you still go back into the military?
Absolutely, I would. Absolutely, I would go into the military, and I'd like to say that I would do even more stuff, but there's always only so much that you can do in your lifetime. But I had a great military career. Half of it was spent as a reservist, so we were here in Calaveras County, but the other half I was all over the country and all over the world. And, everywhere I went, my wife and children went. And, it's not, one of the places we were at was in Alaska. So
Awesome.
Not too many children in America that can go and say that they actually went outside and played during recess at school at minus 25 degrees. And they
Ain't
got
that
to do a dog sled and a whole bunch of different things. It's a totally different experience living half the year in the light and half the year in the dark and stuff. So, but then, they spent several years with me also injured, so they had to deal with me being in the hospital a lot and things like that too. So, so there's a lot that the family goes through one way or another. So
exactly. I really want to just touch base on this amazing dog you have right here, and just how that all came to be, and how Tex, became part of your path to a purpose.
Well, they're not sure. They're still trying to find out exactly what happened to me, but I did have some kind of chemical exposure over there that caused me a metabolic disorder. So I have kidney problems where I literally create kidney stones almost every single day.
Oh my gosh.
And that's not a fun thing to deal with. And when I have a bad bout, I'll pass 25 to 30 stones a day for several days in a row, and I'm normally hospitalized and have to have help. I've had several surgeries on removing them and different things. But I also, with the metabolic disorder and whatever else that was going on, caused me to start having seizures. So the Army said I needed a helmet and a cane or a service dog, and the service dog just seemed a lot cooler than a helmet
without
and
a
a
doubt. I would
cane.
pick a service dog any day.
So they helped me with the organization through it was a program called MASH, Mutts Assisting Soldier Heroes. And Debbie Kendall was the one who ran that program out of New Mexico. And she would come down and help us veterans,
Servicemen?
Our service members
That's okay. I did
at
that
Fort
last
Bliss,
show.
Texas. And she did it absolutely free and would drive an hour drive down and help us and everything. And she just was great. I loved her in everything that she did and helping every one of us. But she did take and have a lot of problems with the Army, and they basically blasted her and blasted all of us and everything. And when we fought back, she wasn't allowed to come on post anymore and stuff. And so now she's gone on to another career. She works for American Airlines as a flight attendant. Is it flight attendant? Is that what they're called? You used to be able to call them stewardess. Now I don't think you can say that anymore. But
I've actually never been on a plane, to tell you the truth, so I don't really know.
But she's a wonderful lady. Still works a lot with warrior dogs, the dogs that went over to Iraq and Afghanistan and are needing to be replaced. And I think she still is doing that too. But she helped us all with our dogs and trained us to train a dog. And she's been wonderful. And so other than the expenses on the dog and buying our own equipment, it was absolutely free to us. And these dogs can be thousands of dollars to be able to get.
Well, I want to let you know that you're a wonderful guy, too, because you took the trials and tribulations that you went through throughout your path to purpose, and look where you are now. And that's what I really want to focus on with Shasta's journey, is that it doesn't matter who you are or what race you are or what you believe in, but the fact of the matter is that you had faith throughout that journey. You went through all these things, but look where you are now. You are making an impact in people's lives, and you're making a difference for all these other veterans who are going through similar things that you're going through. And I think it's just really incredible what you started, and I want to discuss, what got you into that, what led you to making this your purpose and to creating Silver Paw Ranch.
So this was not my plan.
Of
I
course.
was gonna come back and own a business again, but we used to own the Radio Shack up in Angels Camp, and so I thought I would open up a new retail store or something, and I also have a contractor's license, but with the seizures and balance problems and things, I'm afraid to get on a roof now. I'm afraid to do some different things. So, whatever happens in our life does happen for a purpose. And I didn't know why I was going through what I was going through until now. And when we were fighting back with the Army and had Congress come down and check us out and inspect the dogs and everything else, Debbie Kendall had asked us who in here in the class of about 25 of us had tried to commit suicide, and about half the hands raised. And then she asked, who here has thought about committing suicide and wanted to just get it all over with? And I was the only one who didn't raise my hand. And I've had several veterans, I have had several soldiers in formation that were in my platoon that committed suicide, and I wanted to help them with this and the suicide. I don't know if people know, but it's 22 veterans commit suicide a day nationally. That's too many for me. That's too many. I can see just from your look that it's unbelievable. It's hard.
And how do you think that you're not a part of that group? Like, what makes you different as far as not feeling those feelings to commit suicide?
Because that hurt. I don't want to get hurt. I go to the hospital when I get hurt. I don't go and hurt myself to keep from hurting anymore. I jokingly say that a little bit, but I also believe that no matter what I've gone through and what I've had, that I do have something that God still has me here to do. I didn't know it was going to be this until that point. And so at that point I said, this is what I'm going to do, and started talking with Debbie Kendall, and she started working with me as being a trainer to train other people. And I spent almost 2 years doing this and learning, and I went to the Oklahoma State University's entrepreneurship program.
Awesome.
And this was the project that this was the project that I had, and so I had professors and other students be able to give me advice and everything else too. That was the way the whole thing actually worked. And then you went there for 10 days, and they just had so many speakers and different things there and workshops, and it was awesome. It was awesome.
I can imagine. And how do you feel that text has made a difference in your life?
Well, with me, when I was having my seizures more regularly, they've been under control now for a little over a year, but and that is thanks to the VA system here. They actually do a pretty good job, despite all the bad rap that the VA has gotten so far. But he would take and either go get help, or he would warn me of it before it happened so I could sit down on the ground. Or he would, once I was in a seizure, he will sit around my head and keep me from hitting the walls and different things like that. As well as he does numerous other things. I do have balance problems, so I can reach out to him like a cane. He helps me upstairs. He can, he wakes me up with nightmares at night. He reminds me to take medications, things like that, stuff. So
Dang,
he does an
it's not things that I think normal people would think that a dog could do, but that's truly indescribable. For
and we can train the dogs to even do more than that. They can help you with clothes on and off, to alert you of things no matter what the alert is. We have diabetes with low blood sugar. We have a guy, not to go and disclose everybody individually, but we have a diabetic that has a dog. We have guys with anxieties and depressions, which the depression, leads to the suicide. We have, we don't have any quadriplegics or paraplegics, but they would be able to help dress and undress and pick up things and bring them things, and they can do so many different things.
Do you think that these service dogs have a bigger purpose than just veterans? Do you think that, maybe in the future they could help elderly?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, because what we're doing too is they're already helping other people, like the blind and children with peanut allergies. They can detect peanut things that would have, different foods that would have something in there that would be harmful for that child or anybody. But we have a couple programs. Not only do we help veterans, but we also help their families. So our youngest recipient right now is only 8 years old, and he is a dependent child of a veteran. And so he has a lot of medical problems and stuff, and so he's helping him with that. But we also started Operation Hero, which we take in 2 18-year-old or younger disabled children, and we help them with a dog twice a year. So right now we're getting ready to online publish out for people to go and submit names for our second one. Our first one is from Sonora. Her name is Charity. No, is that? It's a girl.
Is she a writer for Calaveras Enterprise? Charity
Blackmore. No, not that.
Okay, because I know a charity that focuses on veterans and things.
I forget her name.
Well, that's okay.
But, Courtney Blackmore from over in Sonora, and she has a lot of not only does she have emotional problems because of her physical problems, she really truly needs a dog, and she is just, and the dog are they're great. So that's going to be the next thing too, is we'll be posting that. We would have already posted it, except I'm moving right now. We just found our own property and moved.
Congrats.
So we've been really busy doing that, and so I haven't even been on Facebook for like 2 weeks now.
2 weeks.
And so yeah, so we're gonna continue on with the different things. So that's one of them.
Well, not only does the organization in general have such a huge purpose in making a difference in people's lives, but as far as the name goes of this ranch, what's the story behind that?
Hi. Well, the actual name of the organization is Sergeant Patrick Rowe Foundation. Under Sergeant Patrick Rowe Foundation is Silver Paw Ranch, which is all of it. Sergeant Patrick Rowe was a local Marine in Angels Camp who was a decorated Marine from several tours in Afghanistan. He came home and went fishing with a couple buddies out on the lake here locally and got poison oak, and then died as a reaction to medication given to him by the medical staff. I want to be careful what I say, because I don't want to go and say anybody did something wrong.
Of course.
But he did have a reaction to everything and died. This was April a year and a half ago. And we were still looking for a name, and when he died, we felt it befitting to name after him. He was actually a student of my wife's for 3 years at the Christian Family Learning Center. He wasn't for 3 years because he had to repeat it over 3 years. She was the 2nd grade, 3rd grade, and 4th grade teacher consecutively, and so she moved up with that class 3 years in a row. And such a great kid. And so Silver Paw Ranch is Sergeant Patrick Rowe's initials. And then we even have can I tell you about the new thing too?
Oh, of course.
So we have a new thing that we're starting up too, which is the Serving Patriots and Restoring the Family. A lot of the veterans like myself can go get help, and mostly what happens is we go see a psychologist and we're told, get over it, here's some drugs. Well, I think that there's a lot more to the anxieties and the PTSD and depressions and everything like that. So we're working on trying to make a bunch of different workshops and different things to where the whole family goes in and gets counseling. The whole family goes through these workshops, and so the wife and the children all learn different coping skills dealing with the disabilities within the family. Whether it's just having a service dog come into the family, or the anger issues, the depression issues. The wife doesn't know what to do. What's she to do? The child doesn't understand why dad flies off the handle real quick. So what can we do to give them the coping skills to deal with those situations to where the family can stay together? So I'm really right now trying to target 2 things: the suicide rate and the extreme divorce rate.
And I see just so much potential in the story behind it. I talk with my hands. There's just the story behind it. And it actually reminds me a lot of what happened to my uncle, is that, this guy has a legacy that's continuing on after, so many years. And my uncle, like I said, he died in 2013 from a car accident. And this whole organization called Swarm, which is a guy named Jim Bowers, and he reminds me a lot of you because you took somebody's something that happened to them and turned it into a legacy. And it's called Swarm, and they take drones, and it's an organization completely free, much like service dogs and everything, where basically they're just making a difference, and they go out and they search for these people, for these families. And so that's really incredible that you took those type of things and you're serving people. And I think that's one of the main things that is so important about a purpose, is that you're serving something in some form. It's really incredible. So what have you learned in your life so far? That's the most important thing.
What's the most important thing that I've learned?
That you've learned along your life journey.
Wow, that's a big question.
I know.
Well, I've learned, being in the military, we say that, like you asked me, you said, thank you for serving. I did serve in the military, but I also used to own a Radio Shack, and I served people within the community in my Radio Shack. I had a construction company. I think that every single person needs to realize that that's the way we live all of life, is service all the time. And yet we don't realize it. I don't care if you're taking and making the bed up in a hotel, or if you're in the military. Almost every single job that anybody has is in service for somebody else. And so I want to continue serving people, and especially my veterans. That's one of the big lacking things that we have. I didn't tell you, too, one of the other new things we're right now getting estimates on a van. We have veterans here in this community that can't get to their medical appointments. So we're trying to get grants and money gathered up so that here in Calaveras County we can take guys to their medical appointments and stuff. And when the whole organization is built, and we're using the van for different things, our driving crew, their main responsibility will be to take us where we need to go, and to get all the veterans in the area when they call in and need a ride to their appointments and stuff. So there's a lot of things that we want to do and keep building on this and stuff to provide a whole wide range of veteran services here in the county. So,
who has been the biggest influence in your life, and why?
You mean other than God?
Well,
my wife.
God.
So, I'm going to say two people. Can I say two?
Oh, okay. Yeah. There's no rules.
So my biggest inspiration for doing this project, of course, would probably be Debbie Kendall. Okay, who kept encouraging me to do this, and she's just without her, I would never have done this at all. So without her help with the dog, I would not have had a dog, and I wouldn't have done this at all. So she's been extremely influential in my life. Locally here, though, I would have to say the local carpet guy, Dan Pinnell. I've known him for years, since I've lived here in the early 90s. He's not only been my carpet guy, but when I was just getting started in construction and everything, he's the one that kept keeping me forward and, showing me how to keep pushing forward and to strive and to be successful.
So a big encouragement.
Oh, my goodness. And then not only financially, which, I'm not a big financially stable guy, but that when he taught me things too, that when going out there and trying to make money, which I'm not making money, but still the same thing. You set a goal, and then at the beginning of the month, you work on it. And then once you meet that goal that you set for yourself for that month, then you can go on vacation. Then you can go, then you can go have your fun. But you don't go and have your fun until you meet your goal. And if you don't meet your goal that month, then guess what? You don't get to go.
Yeah. I think a lot of people get caught up in the worldly things. And one of those things is money. So sometimes, they pick that certain job because of the money, because of the salary. But at the same time, people need to be doing the purpose that they're passionate about. And I can see the passion in your eyes for everything that you do. And I can see that, it isn't about money for you. It's about continuing to make an impact in people's lives. And that's truly what it's about. So I really hope and pray that the viewers really are inspired and healed and taught by just hearing your story and hearing how, your path to a purpose came to be and how you're living out your purpose here on this earth. And so what advice do you have for people who, may are trying to find their path to a purpose or are not sure where they are along their journey? Do you have any advice for people who are struggling with that?
You just ask all those hard ones, don't you?
No, I just keep rambling. I'm like, oh.
Well, I have to say, though, that first of all, I think that first of all, realizing anything you do, though, is a service. And find that and keep working toward it. And the biggest thing is don't ever give up. A veteran today, I got a call today from one of my, I have a few people out there, and stuff, and said that he was going to be homeless in the next couple of days. And so I called him up and said, what's going on? And he said, well, I was told by the one apartment I was moving into that to put in my 30-day notice because I was going to be moving really soon. And I said, well, okay, so what happened? Well, it fell through, and so I still got to be gone in 9 days. And I said, well, because he wasn't going to come to class today. And I said, well, first of all, don't worry about that because you can come with me. I got a camp trailer. You can stay in my camp trailer. Let's not worry about the little small things. We'll put you up. We'll give you whatever it takes and stuff. I have another veteran right now that is out here he's going to get some services from Menlo Park. He's been separated from his wife for several months while he's getting the help he needs. I'm going to somehow get the money to fly him out here. I don't know if I can get some of the other organizations or not, or if, we don't really have the money right now, but I'm going to get the ticket anyway.
Everything happens for a reason.
That's right, because some way, somehow, the money's going to be there.
I believe
it's really trusting in God.
Faith.
There you go.
Faith is everything.
I trust that it'll be there. I can never, ever outgive God ever in my entire life. I've never been able to do it. Every single time my wife says, well, wait, then afterwards she goes and says, I'm glad we did that. And so, I believe that, I really truly believe, though, that it's through Jesus Christ that you're going to find that real purpose in your life. So,
yeah, well, everybody believes in something.
Yes.
And wherever they are along that path where they're trying to figure out maybe what they believe in, I really hope that their story impacts them. And I know it will. So what are your hopes for your future right now?
My hope for the future right now is that every single day I can just get to one more veteran. That's all I want. I want to be able to, this isn't about going out and helping out 1,000 veterans. It's only one veteran at a time. And I wish we had the money to help out 1,000. But one day we might be able to all at once, 1,000 people.
Most
but if it
definitely.
takes me 10 years to get to 1,000 people, that's my hope. That's, again, even what I've been told before, too, in setting that goal. This year we got to a little over 20 veterans.
Wow.
This last year.
Yeah,
this year my goal
awesome.
is hopefully be able to reach 75 veterans. And but if I don't, I know that's exactly what I'm supposed to get. If I end up getting twice that, I know that's exactly how many I'm supposed to get.
Well, thank you so much for being a part of my journey,
No problem.
and I appreciate you taking the time to be on it. Thank you so much, you guys, for following me along my path to purpose. I really appreciate it. I hope that you got something out of Guy Shelby's story, and I pray that it really taught, healed, or inspired one of you out there. I want you to know that your story is powerful and you have a purpose here on this earth. So go and share that story at www.shastasjourney.com and visit our Facebook page at Shasta's Journey. And I look forward to the next episode and where my journey takes me. Have a blessed day, guys. Bye.